What? I really wish that we could have done it in a manner where we got to use all of our equipment.
Yeah.
But we are here live.
Here we finally did it. Yeah.
Gentlemen, technology is one of those special things, right? That is like, when it works, it's amazing. When it doesn't, it's not so great. So it actually took us about 42 minutes to go live today.
That's a record.
That's a record for us.
Yes.
And which is fine, totally cool. But here we are, episode 4.
Let's do it.
Limitless
lifestyle.
Limitless lifestyle. I'm just way off today. This is what happens when you don't eat lunch. Well, we got a special guest today.
Yeah. I mean,
Dylan Worley. How are you, my friend? I'm Eli and CEO and founder of Lifestyle Real Estate. I'm here
Kush
with one of our top producers, and we're here with a brand new licensee. Not brand new, but like a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Less than 6 months.
Less than 6 months.
Yeah.
Right. And
pretty new.
Dylan's been with the company for a little while. He's a pretty good dude sometimes. He's all right when he's sleeping. But overall, you're an all right guy, Dylan. Where are you from, Dylan? Tell us where you're at.
So I'm from a small town in southeastern Kentucky called Barberville, close to Corbin, if anybody knows where that is. But yeah, I went to UK after graduating high school. And at the end of my 4 years to complete my degree, I had to get an internship. Never had a real direction on what I wanted to go into marketing, like what industry. But just by coincidence, decided that I was going to try out a real estate office, and just so happened to be on the list of some of my classmates had done internships here. So I was like, let's try it out. And if I don't like it, it's just an internship.
Yeah.
Nothing lost.
No damage. Learn a little bit.
But as you can tell, I'm still here. So for some reason, I don't know, they keep me around. But yeah, so then I just wanted to get my license just so I could have some background knowledge and do my job better. And as it turns out, I saw that you can get commission checks. Did y'all know that?
It's pretty amazing.
It's pretty wild. Yeah. So I was like, you know what? Maybe we'll go all in on this and become an agent.
Well, congratulations on passing your test. There's
Yeah.
a lot of people that have come in here. I actually quit taking interviews with people pre-test because I used to let everybody just come in and talk to them. I will talk to you. It's not an interview.
Yeah.
And then because we do want you to be serious about this business, and we do take it pretty seriously. Mm-hmm. So, what have you been? What is the most surprising thing of the industry that you've come across so far?
During your time?
Well, I will say this: in the year that I was not licensed, but I was here and able to hear some of the things that the agents were dealing with on a day-to-day basis. Basically all of that. I did not realize the amount of effort and time that goes into, securing a deal and making sure it goes all the way to closing. Mm-hmm. At least on social media or in shows and stuff, they make, real estate agent, you're gonna make big bucks, you just got to do a little bit. No, it's way more than that. And going through this coursework, I'm like, how do people get deals done without being fined or sued left and right?
Lots of practice.
Yeah. So
nobody knows why.
So I guess just making sure I'm staying within the lines and doing it well. But that comes from support and seasoned agents.
Of course. Now, did it match your expectations so far? Like, are your expectations been matched, or maybe?
As far as I'm very surprised on the things you have to do and how much you actually have to learn and retain that knowledge. But as far as what I'm expecting it's really a slow burn. You think you're going to jump right in it and get going immediately, and that's just not how it works. Yeah. So I'm just looking forward to building that business.
Definitely. And you've already got a good start. I mean, you're at Lifstyl.
Right. That's true. That's one good decision.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, the worst decision you made was getting a license, but no.
Every time that I told somebody I just got licensed, and they're like, why? Yeah. And these are agents you're talking about. They're like, you do not. What are you doing?
Agents should be saying that.
I know they should be so, but they're jaded. is what it comes down to, and it happens in every industry.
I think it's just a love-hate relationship. It's still a job, you know.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. But it can be a fun
It's
job.
a fun career too, you know.
Yeah, and it's what I love about it is that it has limitless potential. That was my favorite thing about going to a commission-based business. And one of the tips I like to give brand new licensees is that you are now a walking, talking business and CEO of your own brand.
Yeah.
I just shared an article actually about building your own brand or branding yourself as an individual through your social media, which is really good on NPR, so you should check it out. But there's 5 steps on what you should do about branding. And as a brand new licensee, I always suggest that you kind of pay attention to what you're saying. There's a way to go through your Facebook and kind of delete all your past, or at least hide it.
Hide it, yeah.
Yeah, so there's nothing that exists before April 2018 for mine. So, but I say some crazy shit on there.
I was about to say, it's probably good.
It's probably pretty good. It's nothing too crazy.
No.
It's just nothing too crazy. But in the early years of social media, it was pretty fun.
Right.
To be, and when you're not a real estate agent, when you're, some best advice that I see your social media and you're not like this, but don't talk politics, don't talk sex, don't talk religion on social media. And
even
same thing
sports now.
Yeah, sports is even kind of a touchy subject. I see that, man. It's kind of crazy actually. That people are going in.
Maintain neutrality and you'll be fine. You know?
Yep. What are your goals? What's your first year goals? What are you trying to do in your first year?
So for my first year, I don't really have a dollar amount of closings or sales volume that I would like to get done. My goal for the first year would probably be 6 to 8 transactions.
That's really good. That's really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you can double it next year and double it again.
Exactly.
Double it again.
And then Limitless is there.
Yeah, right. Limitless is there. Yeah. So you were in our mentoring program. How has that been for you as a brand new licensee, having somebody with you to kind of guide you?
So I will say, just where I've been on staff, I know a lot of the seasoned agents. I know a lot of the mentors that we have signed up. My mentor is actually Andrew, which is a phenomenal mentor.
Andrew Wilson.
Andrew Wilson, yeah, national. He's always available to be on call. I call him if I have any questions or if anything develops in one of my deals. He's always there to pick it up. And then with the other agents, I kind of look at everybody as a type of mentor, maybe not full time, but Carol Shue, we have Carol here now, and she's doing great at teaching these classes and just making sure that we're able to, especially the new agents, to take some of the basics that are maybe overlooked now and to apply those and really start off with a good foundation before you get too far out there. A lot of agents don't get the basic foundation training, and when they get out there, they're missing a lot. And I want to be one of those people that reach out to your experienced agents. That's where I have gotten a lot of my knowledge that I have just as a brand new agent.
That's good. That's exactly what I did actually too. Is I reached out to seasoned agents on day one, and I was asking them, okay, what should I not be doing? Because really anyone can figure out what to do, right?
Right.
But it's hard to figure out what you should not be doing, right?
Yep.
That's the crucial part. You don't want to make mistakes, right? So I like learning from other people's mistakes, and I think you're doing that too, which is really good.
Yeah. And
learning from someone like Andrew, again, your potential is limitless because he has a wealth of knowledge, right?
Right. And all of the experienced agents are going to remember their mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Pretty clearly, because I feel like we tend to remember the mistakes more so than the successes, and that's how we're built, though.
Right? Yeah, totally. I mean, I tell people this all the time is that I was basically hitting home runs like on a regular basis in business, and then one day I didn't, and I literally struck out and got punched in the face. But from that experience, I gained way more than all the successes that I ever experienced. So I went over 5 years, I 10x'd the business, did all these things, and then I let ego get in the way. But to what you're saying about talking to experienced agents, this is very consistent in a lot of the new agents that I've hired, is the ones that are the most annoying with questions are the ones that always end up being the most successful.
Right.
My good friend Michelle Gunter, she's probably like top 5 in the market, maybe top 10 in the market in transactions, closing over 120 transactions. Mm-hmm. She annoyed the shit out of me. And I know this is something that we've had conversations before, and I've helped her open her own office. And it's pretty consistent. I just finished a book by my friend Keith Fugazi, which is Never Eat Alone. I highly recommend this book.
Okay. What's the name of the book?
Never Eat Alone.
Never Eat Alone. Okay.
And it's a phenomenal book. I met him in Mexico in 2020. But the premise of the whole book is it's more than just about networking. It's about identifying the people that you need to talk to get you to reach your goals. Mm-hmm. And he actually has a process in the book where he talks about where you're setting up your 10-year goal, mm-hmm. Your 3-year goal, your 1-year goal, and your next 90 days. This is how we run our office. We run everything. Mm-hmm. We live in a 90-day world. We have our 90-day goals, and we try to hit those. And I recommend you, as a brand new licensee, do this same thing. His process is identifying the people that you need to get your 10-year goal. So let's say that you want to be president of the United States. Well, you know what was so successful about Ronald Reagan was his Rolodex. He knew the right people. I mean, he was a Republican governor in California in the 1970s. So think about that. And they've been a democratic country. It's basically a country. They've been a democratic state basically as long as their existence. But the point is that his Rolodex was really, really important. And in your 10-year goal is like, who do I need to talk to get to this point? Right. And you put that person's name down, you write it down. And writing your goals down is one of the most significant things that you can do.
Yes.
And do you know the difference between a goal and a dream?
You've told me before. I can't think of it.
It's a due date.
A due date.
Yeah, that's because a dream's just floating out there, man. It's just in your brain. Right. It's in your subconscious mind. But it's not imprinted into your subconscious mind. It's a dream that you kind of have. And you forget your dreams, right? You wake up and you forget what you're dreaming about. Absolutely. But if you woke up and wrote down your dream, you'll never forget that dream.
Nope, that's it.
It's manifestation. And manifestation is a powerful tool, and people think it's kind of cheesy. But in 2007, I read the book The Secret. And
it's a good one.
Yeah, and that's basically what put me on my path to where I'm at now is because I wrote down all my goals. You see my blue book that I walk around with? My goals are written in that. I literally will think of a goal that I'm like, oh shit, this is something I want to do. And I will literally just write it down. And I'll give you guys the best example of that was 2017. I had just flipped a couple of properties and made a shitload of money on it and was like, man, I want something bigger. So I wrote down in that book, I want to flip an apartment building, right? And so
it's pretty big.
It was pretty big. Yeah. So then sometime in the end of 2018, after I had just closed on a 10-unit apartment building, I'm flipping through the book and I see this written down. And I didn't even think about it. Like I didn't even think about it as a goal. And I started getting goosebumps even talking about it now. But just seeing it written down and then it occurring was like, oh shit, I gotta write this stuff down all the time. Yeah. And I highly suggest that you write down all of your goals. And that could be anything and everything. There's something about putting pen to paper that causes the universe to make the whole world revolve around this
so
thing.
Weird how that works.
And if you see it every day too, like don't just write it down and just like put it somewhere, you know. You need to see it every day.
Right. It needs to be something you frequent.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and there's also another book called Biology of Belief, which is a scientist that wrote this book. So I'm on a book tear this year. I'm reading 52 books in 2023. I'm 6 down so far, so I'm going to try to crank them out. I'm trying to do about a book a week. And so like this week I'm doing 2. So like next week I can take the week off. But I read about a book a week now.
All right.
Audible, because I'm not a very good reader. I'm dyslexic and it makes it really hard to read.
Oh, no problem.
But Audible's really good. You listen to them at 2x books.
I'm a fan of audiobooks.
Yeah, this is another great book. If you guys ever need it, I should really create like a book suggestion.
A book list.
Yeah. Eli's book club.
So yeah, I'm like book club on steroids. But the book actually breaks down. He gives an example of because he was a cellular scientist where he was like literally taking cells from the heart and then putting them with cells next to lungs, and the lung cells will turn into the heart cells, and like this like to the on the molecule level that not that you could put it in a human body, but you could see it in a petri dish. They actually changed. So like there's actually the physical ability for things physically to change through this, and Dr. Joe Dispenza is a really good example of this. He has a book called Being Superhuman. It's a really long book and boring as hell. I read through about 60% of it. I couldn't even finish it, but because he really gets technical in these kind of things. But there is some power to that, and it's really significant. So, so ask us some questions, man. You're a brand new licensee.
Right. Let's flip it up.
Let's see what we can do.
Yeah,
Let's see what we can answer some questions for you.
Definitely. I mean, usually on Limitless Lifestyle, we ask the questions, but you know what? I think we want to just see, like, what do you have for us? Yeah.
So we can all agree that the market's been changing a little from the 2020 on season that we just went through.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you stay up to date with the market and changes in the industry? What resources do you use? Who do you talk to?
You want to go first? Or want me to go first?
You can go for it.
All right. So there is a website that's called Mortgage News Daily. I haven't had the app. I'd recommend that. First off, it gives me the rate every day.
Mm-hmm.
You need to know the rate.
Right.
People are always going to ask you that, right? And if you want to be a resource, you better have your information like at fingertips, right? So Mortgage News Daily. I avoid, like popular media outlets because usually they like to put their own narrative and spin on it. I want like raw data. I want just unbiased facts,
Yep.
Mortgage News Daily definitely delivers on that. Otherwise, staying on top of trends. I run market reports, like we send market reports to our clients and leads, right?
Right.
But why not just for ourselves?
Yeah.
Do
Do you look at those?
Oh,
I mean, do people look at those when they send them to their clients? Because if not, they probably need to.
Exactly, and like there's a lot of different software that we use, but regardless of which one you use, I just look at the data and I notice, okay, if the trend is currently decreasing, how longer do I think it's going to decrease, right? You have to interpret, you have to make educated guesses, like really just inferences on it, right? So I look at data, I'm a number cruncher, like Eli knows this, I'm a spreadsheets guy.
Yeah.
And that's how you really just do it. I mean, anyone can do it, but it's better about how you do it.
Right. And I think you really touched on a good point, misinformation. Not a lot of times, not with real estate I've seen, but sometimes the data's not right and it's not coming from a valid source. So you got to make sure, especially for new agents like myself, we want to get those sources pinned down and written down early, so we have the right info from the get-go.
Exactly. And I avoid. Sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
I just avoid the larger outlets because they always have a story, but that doesn't mean that like Lexington market's different than LA market.
Right.
Like you can't have one story for the whole country.
Even to that point of the media in general, their job is to keep eyes on their websites, so they have to write scary stuff, right? I saw this YouTube. It was a Instagram reel of this guy that posted something from it was either Financial Times or Bloomberg or one of these. Well, it's owned by Goldman Sachs. Okay, one of those companies is owned by Goldman Sachs. So now, and I'm not saying that there's some kind of grand conspiracy for this, but Bloomberg puts out this article saying that there's this foreclosure wave coming through.
Right.
What they fail to mention is that there was a freeze on all foreclosures for 2 years. So yes, there's 300,000 foreclosures coming in, but there hasn't been a foreclosure in 2 years. Right. Well, Goldman Sachs also just spent $45 million buying single-family homes, entire neighborhoods in Florida. So they stand to take advantage of the lies that are being put out there by these media companies. And I don't want to call them lies because they're partial truths or stretched. And a lot of people don't read the article. Right. In the article, it may just say that at the bottom is like, well, there hasn't been any foreclosures in 2 years, and that's why it's coming through. Mm-hmm. And I saw my first short sale online. There's a property I think in Andover right now that's a short sale, and a lot of you guys don't know what that is. When I started in the business, 1 in 4 deals was a short sale. I'm probably like 1 in 3 was a foreclosure. And it's really, we'll see a few of those, but nothing too crazy. The values are there those people could probably walk away with a little money in their pocket if they want to. But you have to be the source of knowledge, and that's going to be the most important thing. A hot sheet is really important. That's all the properties that are coming up on. I look at it every morning, and I don't actively represent buyers or sellers anymore.
Right.
But I always like to see what's on the market.
Yeah.
And it's really powerful stuff. So
Definitely. Yeah.
So, got that covered. As far as growing your client base for a new agent, what would you? And I know Carol did this last week, prospecting and systems class. But what is for you starting out? Think about your first years. What did you do to grow your client base, to grow your sphere?
Networking.
Like in-person networking.
In-person networking. Even during COVID, like I know COVID was there, but Zoom doesn't work. Okay, it's meant to be a substitute. It's not meant to be a secondary. It's meant to be a substitute, right?
Right.
So go to those networking events. Our board has so many, right? I go to parties that my friends and clients, even my parents' friends host.
Right.
You know, even if they're not going to be like, let's say, moving like in the next 3-5 years, that's okay.
Yeah.
But they know me. I establish that connection, gain rapport, right? You know, and like just keep building a relationship. You know.
Right.
But not like, don't build a relationship for the purpose of one day, okay, I'll be their agent one day. No, because then that's just selfish, right? And then there's your ego, right? Selflessly build. Even if you like build for like 3 years and nothing happens, that's okay, you know? But regardless, you have created that connection with them, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And networking, you know, it's, dare I say, networking is limitless. You can network, like what did Eli just say about Ronald Reagan? He had that Rolodex, right?
Right.
He had people of everyone, you know? I have my go-tos for every single thing you can think of, and that's because I continue to network, you know, and I want to just be familiar. And I think that's what's helped my business. And I think it's something that's a fundamental that's not really used by a lot of agents.
Right.
So you have to go out there. You can't expect business to come to you. And our board is over 4,500 agents. How are you going to stand out?
Right.
You know, and I think you've seen me stand out, right?
Oh yeah,
like,
you got it down. You know how to stand out.
You got to stand out, right? But networking is crucial.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm a big believer in having a list of your super fans that starts with your friends and family. They want to see you succeed. There's no doubt about that. They all want to see you do well, especially your friends and family and people that know you. So I would start with that, and it starts with your iPhone. I kept my list to about 175 names, and I made like $100,000 a year doing that in a shitty market. So like it works. Our number one producer is Jim Moore. He's going to close $13 million this month, and he does a 125 name database. Now, granted, he has a builder that he represents, but he still takes care of his core group of people.
Right.
And people, and part of your social media has to know, and you're doing a really good job of this, by the way, is that they have to know that you're a real estate agent.
Yeah.
So don't be a secret agent.
Right. Yeah.
So I highly suggest that you start working on that list. And it could be just a spreadsheet. You have KV Core already there that you can start putting in people. And what I would recommend is find the people that actually already own homes that you know, that you're friends with, and family. And just ask them if it's okay if you can send them a market report of the houses in their neighborhood and what their house is worth. And just tell them it's practice.
Right.
You know, tell them that you're just learning, and then all of a sudden you got their email address, and then they get a drip marketing campaign. KV Core is really powerful in that it has behavior automation. I saw someone call it AI. It's not really AI. It's just behavior automation, which is different than AI, just to show them how.
Right.
They're just kind of clueless. But that's fine. So people don't know tech, and this is something that we focus on as an office, is that we
Very tech-based.
very tech-based.
Yeah,
Even though sometimes it doesn't work.
Tech is limitless here.
But yeah, and and that's key. When I started, there were no buyers, right? There was just people. There's a ton of people selling properties, and I thought about who has money, and so it was like, oh, I know people that kept their jobs were doctors. So I had one doctor friend, and so I called him and I said, hey, do you know he's looking to buy or sell a house? And I actually saw Carol, and this is what I love about Carol and her classes. She gets down to the root of what business is about. She used the acronym today of FORD, Family, Occupation, Recreation, and Dreams. That's how I started.
Right.
Mine was in a binder with all the A's under day one, all the B's under day two, and I would just went through my Rolodex, my phone, and printed out everyone's name on the top, and then I put FORD, And then I would ask them about their family. I'd ask them about work. I'd ask them where they've been on vacation.
Yeah.
And I'd ask them about these things, and I'd have it all written down. Right. And wouldn't you know, day 3, I called my friend Constantine, and he's from Azerbaijan. He's half Armenian, I think, and half something else. I think maybe Jewish or something. But he's a very cool dude. And it was the 3rd of the month. It was a Monday. He was the first person I called. Mm-hmm. On Sunday, he went to an open house. And he was like, hey man, I saw this house at an open house. Will you write an offer for me? And I was like, holy shit, this works. Right. And I wrote an offer. I made $6,000 and went on to the next person. And that's how I built my business. And now there's technology there to automate this. And that's what the powerful thing about using a CRM, and really important to use our CRM. Yeah. It's working for you even when you're not working. Right. Yeah. Because it automatically sends emails to them. It automatically sends them market reports. There's a way to set it up for home sellers so that they can get all the new listings that drop in their neighborhood or anything that's sold in their neighborhood. So it's a really powerful tool.
Saves you a lot of time.
And should be using it.
Yeah. Right.
I think we got time for one more question. What do you got for us?
Shoot away.
All right. So here's a good one. What advice do you have for handling difficult negotiations and resolving conflict during a transaction? Because I know from my perspective coming in, you have that base knowledge from your course that you did or the classes you took, but that experience, negotiations, and objections, how to handle those, that's not stuff that's taught to you in your coursework, in your vocabulary. That's something that I would ask.
You learn that on the field. Experienced
agents, or that's just something you kind of learn on your own as you go in. So how do you handle negotiations?
Well, first of all, they're not going to always be easy.
Right.
Like what Obi-Wan said in Star Wars. Negotiations can be short. Right. I can paraphrase that, but regardless, if they're difficult, it doesn't mean they're impossible. Right. I'm going to quote Ted Lasso. Impossible. It's not a word. I hear I'm possible. So like, no task is too hard. It's gonna be complicated. But if it's difficult negotiations, plan it out. Right. Go step by step. Don't jump too far ahead. Keep your cards close. Always keep your clients' dreams, or your clients' goals, really, not your dreams, but your clients' goals in mind. Because you're representing the client. Now, if you're dual agency representing both sides, it's a different story. I don't do that, but. Right. Keep your clients' goals with you at all time. And really, a deal only works if it's a win-win. There is no win-loss deal. Then that's a terrible deal. One side won, the other side feels terrible, right? Right. That's the healthy deal right there, okay? Negotiations become difficult because the deal kind of went sour, or like there's just a bad atmosphere around this deal. So flip it around. Make it to where everyone is happy, Right. Sometimes that means you have to give a concession. Sometimes that means you have to meet them halfway. But always keep your clients' goals in mind, and just be respectful in the end. Don't lose your cool. I feel like I've run into some agents that have lost their cool.
Yeah, I think the biggest mistakes agents make is during negotiations. Like look, we're in a market right now where sellers have still a lot of the leverage, depending on the market, depending on the price range and where they're at, right? But it's still technically. A seller's market,
according to data. Yeah.
According to data, because it's seller's market is like 6 months of inventory. We're like 2.9 or 3.2.
We're nearing 3 right now.
Yeah, so we're on 3. Another book suggestion: Never Split the Difference. Probably one of the best negotiating books I've ever read.
I actually heard of that one.
It's another really, really good book. It's an FBI hostage negotiator. But that's a great book. And the other thing is like when you're dealing with your clients. All right, and most of the toughest negotiations actually come at the inspection period. That's the hardest negotiations. And so what I always recommend is do not run to your clients and immediately tell them what the listing agent said or the buyer's agent. You absorb it, let it sink in for a little bit, come up with solutions, right? And then go back to them and say, here's what they came up with, here's some options that we can come up with. The biggest mistake I've seen agents, and I've seen experienced agents do this, it drives me absolutely crazy that a seller comes back and says they're not going to negotiate at all, and they immediately tell that to their buyer. And what I generally will do is I will try to figure out somewhere where they're willing to negotiate. Right, and I'll start prodding that listing agent. What about this? What about this? What about this? And so I try to come up with some stuff so that way when I go to my buyer, it's not some like, go F yourself. They're not going to do nothing for you.
Right.
Like, here's what they are willing to do. Here's what I think we can do. And then just leave a little room there and create more than just win-win. You need a win-win-win. You need like, it needs to be, not everybody needs to win and feel like they came out of it. There's some cultures that they have to feel like somebody's losing for them to win. Right. That's just some people think that way.
Yeah.
And you have to recognize that you have a client that's that way sometimes, and you've got to present it to them where it looks like they're winning. And sometimes, and I'm by no means am I saying anything about fiduciary duty. Right. But what I am saying is that some people that's just how they think. Understanding their personality is a really important part of that. Yes. And I think that's one of the best advice is just come up with solutions first and then go to the negotiating table.
Right. Or at least don't come to them with a problem without a solution.
Yeah,
if
be
at all
prepared.
possible.
Huge mistake, because you'll blow a deal up.
Right.
You know, like in a lot of times it could be financing didn't work out for the buyer. And so now instead of you going right to the seller and being like, financing isn't working out, you find a way to get financing done and then go to them and be like, hey, financing didn't work out, but give me another 2 weeks and we can close it 2 weeks later. I have this person in line to do that. So it's really, like I said at the beginning of the show, you are a walking, talking business. You're an entrepreneur. And an entrepreneur is just somebody that solves problems, right? You're a problem solver. And that's the biggest point of being an entrepreneur. So, well,
this was a good one.
That was a good one. 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Right quick, right?
All right.
Dylan, thanks for being a part of the team. We appreciate you. Good luck in your real estate career. And catch you guys next time. Like, share,
comment, follow, subscribe. Just all the above.
All the above. Yeah. And the thing that they always say is like, smash that like button. Smash that subscribe button. I hate that. I think is that somebody picked that up? That must have been like a Mr. Beast thing.
Yeah,
probably.
It had to have been.
It's an influence.
One of those big dogs.
Yeah.
One of those big dogs on YouTube.
All right, everybody. Thanks, everybody. We'll catch you next week.
All right. See y'all.
See ya.